Welcome back to our Better Thinking series presented by Spark Studios, where my goal is to discuss concepts to help spark your ideas. In this video series, we take concepts from popular books and break them down into micro-learning opportunities. My goal is to help you understand complex concepts you can apply to your own life. In today's world, it is more important now than ever to learn how to think more clearly and use different mental frameworks to solve your problems. Apply these concepts to your own life and solve your own problems. The book we are discussing today comes from Volume 1 of The Great Mental Models written by Parrish and Rhiannon Beaubien. I highly suggest adding this book to your personal library. We will discuss each mental model, provide context, and practical modern-day examples to help you understand each. As we progress through this video, think about how you can apply this information to your own life. The model to discuss today is the circle of competence. Picture a circle. You can either be inside the circle or outside the circle. The following quote from Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger sums it up perfectly. Know your circle of competence and stick within it. The size of that circle is not very important. Knowing its boundaries, however, is vital. The crux of the circle of competence centers on knowing what you truly understand and acknowledging where your knowledge is lacking. When ego, rather than competence, drives your actions, you develop blind spots. It's important for everyone to develop as a thinker, especially in 2025 and beyond. The concept is illustrated through the analogy of the lifer versus the stranger. The lifer represents someone inside the circle. This represents someone who has deep, detailed knowledge of a complex domain, often built over years of observation and participation. The lifer's knowledge base is intricate and has flexible understanding of the territory he or she operates in. The stranger represents someone outside the circle. This represents someone with only surface-level knowledge who may mistakenly assume they know enough to operate successfully. This false sense of confidence often leads them to take greater risks than they are actually aware of. When operating within your circle, you are considered competent in that domain. Having deep knowledge allows for a better understanding of reality, which is crucial for decision-making. Deep knowledge increases efficiency. You can quickly eliminate bad choices, leading you away from an intended result. When you are competent to know your limitations, you know exactly where you should and should not be, because you are more aware of your ignorances. You can anticipate and respond to objections because you have previously encountered them and know how to navigate them. You have flexibility in responding to challenges, often possessing more than one solution to every problem. Building a true circle of competence is not a shortcut. It requires years of experience, making mistakes, and actively seeking better methods of thought and practice. Everyone wants to be a master, however, it does take time to get there. There is contrast in all things, and quite frankly, it's impossible to be a master of all things. It is equally as important to know how to act when you operate outside your circle of competence. Unlike the lifer, the stranger is not competent in an area of expertise. If you are a stranger, it's important to learn the basics of a domain at hand, but learn so cautiously. What I mean by this is learning the fundamentals of a new realm can help establish a new foundation. However, the key in navigating being a stranger becomes practicing self-awareness. It's important for any stranger to be mindful that access to basic information can easily provide unwarranted confidence. The stranger's ego can oftentimes inflate their circle of competence. Success in one area does not automatically make you competent in another area. For example, a brilliant entrepreneur might be terrible at investing. A great athlete might be a poor coach. A successful author might not understand business. The overall key to acting as a stranger is self-awareness. Regularly question whether you're operating inside or outside your actual circle of competence. Ask trusted people who will be honest with you, as these are the people who have your best interests and growth at heart. When you are incompetent in something, make sure you ask the competent ones. If you are a stranger, always consult a lifer. Talk to someone who has a strong circle of competence in that area. To benefit most, ask detailed and thoughtful questions related to their systems and processes. For example, learning the process of fishing will be more valuable than having them catch a fish for you. The following example will help you visualize the concept of the circle of competence. Sherpa Norgay, who was indigenous to the Everest region, developed the expertise necessary to climb the mountain after 2 decades of first-hand experience. Compared to others, he is considered a lifer in navigating the Everest trails. In contrast, upon ascension of the mountain, there's approximately 200 bodies on Everest, which serve as a warning of those who attempted to climb outside their competence level. This is a darker example, however, illustrates how individuals who fail to grasp their ignorances could lead to dire consequences. As a thinker, it is important to utilize strategies to manage risk where you are vulnerable. The circle of competence is like a well-maintained garden. You know exactly which plants thrive under your care, where your boundary of the soil ends, and which plants need constant weeding and attention. Trying to grow crops in a neighbor's specialized greenhouse without understanding their environment is unwise, especially if they have incentives to sell you bad seeds. You must stick to your fertile ground and consult experts when venturing out beyond your fence. I will conclude the video with some statements I want you to reflect upon. Visualize your circle. Think or write down areas where you have hands-on experience and deep study. Think about areas of life where you can actually break down the why of things. This is the foundation of your circle of competence. Next, know your boundaries. Where does your real expertise stop? Really try to be honest with yourself. Charlie Munger also said, if you are not sure what the boundaries of that circle are for you, then you do not have a real mastery of your field. Once you become aware of these knowledge gaps, the question becomes, how do you respond to this? What sources or people can you reach out to continue your study and continuing developing your level of competence? Think about these things regularly, and you will become a better thinker. Thank you for watching Spark Studios, where my goal is to help spark your ideas. For more thought leadership content like this, please subscribe.